2023 is coming to an end, and for me 2023 will always be remembered as the year I sold off my Seiko watch collection. I do have a small watch box in front of me with my remaining Seikos in it, the ones I just could not let go. The tingles from these watches far too strong, but I've sold a lot of Seiko watches this year. I'll talk about those watches. I'll also show you the watches that remain. On the whole, no seller's remorse whatsoever, but there are a few regrets in there, sadly. The first Seiko I want to show you is a watch that I've had for many years. I bought this close to 25 years ago now. It's an old titanium and gold SQ100. Sadly, it no longer works. But yeah, I wore this watch for many years, and yeah, this was a treat. It cost £250 back in the day, and it was the only watch I could afford to own at the time. But yeah, love it. Just can't let this one go, obviously. Now, after I bought the SQ100, there was a period of around 10 to 15 years where I just didn't wear watches because I was working on building sites, I was fixing up houses, I was working with my hands constantly, so I didn't wear any jewellery, didn't wear a wedding ring, didn't wear a watch. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, I got another office job and thought I'd like to wear a watch. So that is when I got back into watches and I started, I guess, a proper watch collection. And of course, one of the first Seikos I bought was an SKX. I picked this watch up for around £160, £170, I believe it was. Yeah, you'd do well to pick up one of these in sort of new condition for that sort of money these days. But yes, I don't think any watch collection is complete without an SKX in it. And yeah, love this watch, just can't bring myself to sell it. Why would you? And then, of course, things progressed and I picked up a couple of Saabs. I picked up this Saab 017 and a Saab 033, I think it was, the black dial Saab. I sold that watch to Alex, you know, Alex, hashtag blame Alex, and did a sort of swap for a Formex. Oh, that Formex was awful. Now, because I had a little bit of seller's remorse after letting that Saab 033 go, I thought I'd pick up a Saab 035. Yeah, gorgeous watches these. I don't think they're worth the money that people are asking for them these days, but there's no doubt about it. This Saab series of watches, the 017, 033 and 035, really are very special watches. And if ever you have the opportunity to pick up one of these, for a reasonable sum of money, I would highly recommend it. Gorgeous. Now, sometimes I do look at this next watch and think, what was I thinking? But the truth is, I get strong tingles from this SLA 047. It is massive. It is a beast of a watch, but every now and then I do feel like wearing something just big and chunky and heavy. And yeah, this is a limited edition Seiko. I went through a bit of a phase of sort of looking for limited edition Seiko watches, and this one was being offered to me brand new for an incredible price. I think it's pretty much worth the same now as what I paid for it. So the deal was too good to be true, and yeah, I just couldn't say no to it. And I do really like it, and it's also got an 8L movement inside it, so a cracking movement inside this watch, which has found its way into Grand Seiko watches. So yeah, a quality Seiko watch. And that brief obsession with limited edition Seikos continued, which is why I picked up this, a gorgeous Presage. This thing is incredible, and it is one of my favourite Seiko watches. It is the SJE073, I believe. Just incredible. This watch sits so flat on my wrist. A fantastic movement inside this watch. Stunning dial. This sort of frosted snowflake dial on this is, yeah, just unbelievable. Seiko do incredible dials, but this one in particular is one of my favourites. And it is just such a comfortable, good looking watch. Very often, if I'm going out and I want to wear a watch that I want to wear instead of a watch that I'm actually in the process of reviewing, this is the watch that I pick up. Yeah, gorgeous, just gorgeous. Now, picking up that previous watch led me down another rabbit hole, a movements rabbit hole, where I became fascinated by movements that Seiko made for a fairly brief period of time, and the movement inside this watch is a movement that they made for only a couple of years, and so these watches are really quite rare. This is the Sarah 011. I did also pick up a Sarah 013, but that is currently being serviced and I'm in the process of getting that ready to sell. But this is just gorgeous. It should be on a stainless steel bracelet, but I wasn't able to source one in decent condition with a bracelet, so I've put it on an aftermarket Seiko strap. But yeah, I just love the style of this watch, and I also love the fact that the movement inside this watch is, yeah, quite rare. Now, when it comes to Seiko watches, that is what I consider to be all of the Seiko watches in my actual watch collection. I do have more Seiko watches, watches that I'm in the process of working on, watches that I've bought to sell, and I may end up keeping some of those and adding those to my collection in the future. But yeah, as far as Seiko watches goes, that is it. Although I do own, of course, a couple of Grand Seikos. I was very fortunate quite a few years ago to be in a position to pick up this gorgeous SBGA 373. Oh, I mean, you guys know the story behind this watch. It had to go back to Japan to be refinished because I lent it to someone. I gave it to someone in a pub to have a look at, and yeah, they started to bash it against another watch, and yeah, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Anyway, there's that one, and then a little while ago I was offered an SBGN 027, a brand new watch at an incredible price. Again, a deal just too good to refuse. It wasn't really a watch I was looking to pick up, but I reviewed it and it is stunning. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I guess there's a third, the Credor, the watch that I picked up and sent back to Japan to have some work done on it, and it's now in unbelievable condition. Again, I picked up that watch because of the movement inside it. It was one of those movements that Seiko didn't make for too long, and so yeah, I was interested in picking up a Credor, and I was offered this one again for a reasonable sum of money, and I probably spent too much on it, having it all fixed up, but yeah, it's nice to have in the collection. Just can't let this one go either. Now, I think most people would look at that collection of Seiko watches and think, that's a lot of Seiko watches, but the truth is I let things get out of hand, badly out of hand, and I ended up with a lot more Seiko watches that I considered to be watches in my actual watch collection. And there was no way I was ever going to get around to wearing all of those watches, along with the watches that I'm trying to review and watches that I've got in my collection from other brands. So I made the decision this year to sell a lot of these Seiko watches. And as I mentioned in the introduction, on the whole, no seller's remorse, but there is a couple of watches that I've sold that I'm actually considering rebuying. There's this watch that I imported from Japan. I love this watch. I don't know what it is about this watch that I love. Sometimes you just can't put your finger on it. The crystal on this watch is so clear. The AR coating is, well, it's so good. It looks like the crystal just isn't there. And I love the styling of this watch. It's quite affordable. It's not an automatic watch, so it's not the sort of watch I would expect many people to want in their collection. But yeah, I just love the way this thing looks. It looks unbelievable. And then, of course, there's the baby turtle. I produced a video many years ago where I said I thought this was, at the time, Seiko's best Prospex diver. I love this watch. So small, so compact, so comfortable. I love the way it looks. Yeah, I wish I'd kept hold of that one. And of course, there is the Grand Seiko that I gave away. I've got no remorse when it comes to giving that watch away, but truth be told, given the option, I'd still love to have that watch in my collection. An actual Grand Seiko. Okay, a quartz, but an unbelievable quartz movement inside that Grand Seiko, and £2,000 that watch used to retail for. Since then, Seiko and Grand Seiko have put up their prices, and yeah, it's just becoming more and more expensive to own a Grand Seiko, and that watch was just stunning. Gorgeous champagne sunburst dial on that watch. Yeah, I'm sure the new owner is enjoying it very much. So there you have it. That is the current state of my Seiko, Grand Seiko and Credor watch collection. I think I will produce another video in the near future showing, I guess, my watch collection in total. Yeah, it'd be good to show you all of the watches that I consider to be watches that I own for me, not watches that I'm necessarily owning to review. Right, guys. Yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Any questions, let me know.
Okay, go.
Such a dumbass.
Oh, over there.